what's up guys, aarava here and welcome back to a brand new video here today and a third and final F1 2021 gameplay video from this preview build. I'm not sure if we're, getting another preview build later down the line in like a 2 weeks time or whatever. We're pretty close anyway to the full game launch at the start of July, so this may be the last early gameplay video that you see on the channel until the full launch of the game. So today, as you can see, we are doing a cheeky little last question mark challenge because I thought, we've got Baku on this build, we've got the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, so why don't we actually do for the first time a last question mark challenge where it's not a mod installed onto a game, it's literally the F1 2021 game with the full grid. And seeing as well, I'm recording this before qualifying. In free practice 1 and 2, the Mercedes cars were struggling a bit. FP3, Hamilton pulled it back for a third place here, so I don't think in the end they're going to struggle as much, but I thought we'd do it as Lewis Hamilton, being the quickest car on the game, because also being in the back, seeing how far up the order we can get, this will be a really good way for me to just test out, the handling and the fuel system, the ERS and whatnot, over a bit of a longer stint, because so far in all the gameplay videos, we've just been doing these kind of short burst clips to show you a variety of cars and tracks and content, basically, but this will be a nice tester of just, what the general feel of an actual distance of a race is. What is the fuel like now? Do we have to fuel save a lot with the lack of rich mix, or don't we? What the ERS draining is like, maybe, because I think they've definitely changed the amount the ERS drains now because they've had to counteract the fact we don't have any kind of fuel to play around with as such. And, how does that affect overtaking and whatnot? And, what the general handling is like with tyre wear also in the mix, as we've not really seen too much of that in the clip so far that we've played. So, hopefully you guys go on to enjoy this video. If you do, hit that like button. Let's get into this then. So we've got a one stop. It's a 25% race. Usual last to question mark rules. 25% race. Short and snappy means we have to get the overtakes done. And to be fair, also, I'm only allowed to upload a 15-minute video for this one. So it made sense to, just try and not cram in a longer race. Just kind of show you more of the 25% race. But obviously, usual last question mark challenge rules that we do. So here we are then. Let's get into this. Driving as Lewis Hamilton at the back in P20. 13 laps ahead of us of Azerbaijan as we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway for this challenge on the F1 2021 game, and we get a really good getaway versus Latifi in the two Haas cars. We've got one of them sending it down the inside as Mazepin. Russell made a bit of contact with him in the Williams, and I was actually quite surprised at the aggression levels there, so we're having to kind of be a bit easy, and you can see there's nowhere for me to really go, really, because the AI, I've noticed, first impressions really, is they seem to be a lot more racy in terms of even just against each other, they're going for moves, and that, means that as a player, you can't stick it in because they're so busy battling each other. You have to try and be clever like this, where I be patient, and now we get the double overtake done on both the Haas and the Williams car, having to wait for the right time. But I think that's going to be a key kind of trait maybe in this game, is, you're actually, like in real life, going to have to actually bide your time a little bit, not just with the moves, but I think, I alluded to maybe with a lack of, the engine modes, the way the engine overheats now in terms of there's no rich mix to overheat, but you're going to maybe overheat just in generally, being behind cars. So maybe there's a different kind of way you want to go about your racing to maybe get the optimum sort of pace in a race. I'm not too sure. Obviously, it's still early days. It's a preview build. Not really meant to be reviewing everything. Just early impressions that I'm getting is that I think there is an inkling that there will be a slightly different way you maybe, go into races, thinking about the way you're making moves, perhaps. But at the moment, obviously, getting through kind of the lower cars, the Alfa Romeos, both of them able to get past them very easily. Giovinazzi put up a little bit of a fight to turn one again. It seems like the AI are very, positively moving to the inside now to defend positions. Here we just have the overspeed on Tsunoda. We a little cheeky, I can't lie there. That was a little bit rude as we kind of pushed him wide there. But to be fair, we've seen some top cars do that before against midfield and backmarker cars when they're trying to get through here. And we've seen Hamilton sometimes be that aggressive with some cars where he just, really sticks it on the edge. But Tsunoda was very slow there with medium tyres, so we're able to have the advantage. But yeah, I can't lie, it's a weird feeling not changing the fuel constantly like we were at the start of F1 2020 with the base cars. There was the fuel burned quite quickly, so you were constantly changing it, whereas now it's just the ERS and the DRS once we get it. And speaking of, we're now trying to get a move on Leclerc, but we lock the rear and the front. But look at that, some lovely car control, if I do say so myself, and we're able to kind of drift off the car a little bit through as the rear end stepped, but I think that's a massive difference, and kudos to the new tyre model that I feel, as I mentioned, you can lean on the tyre and there's more feeling with the tyre. And I said this in the first gameplay video also whilst we are doing intermediates and full wets, that I feel like with the extra little bit of feedback you're getting on the tyre, that feeling on the road, it's now a little bit more intuitive that you could kind of feel it with the feedback and start to counter steer and catch the car a little bit quicker, because of course that's going to be a quicker feeling that you're getting through a steering wheel in my instance, but also a controller, it's going to vibrate enough, versus just visually seeing your car starting to spin out. And there, you know, I feel like on F1 2020 with that move with the Leclerc, I think if I did that on F1 2020 I would have honestly span it into him rather than catching it. But now we're closing it on cars. Sainz with a really good run and using the ERS quite you know, not sparingly. We're using it quite a lot in the early stage of the race. But, you know, we're at 40%. It's lap 3. So, and I've been using it a fair amount, and we're using it to get past Sainz. Need that little extra bit, and then DRS to help us to get the move done. He's still there on the inside, though. You can see the red proximity arrow. His nose was still there up until the corner exit. So, showing again, I think the AI, even if they're losing the position, they're still trying their best to keep it as much as they can. But, yeah, 40% ERS. You know, 4 laps in, I feel like we would have been a lot lower on last year's game if I was using ERS this much on a base level, you know, car that's not, you know, been upgraded in career mode, that is. So I think the ERS, I'm getting the impression that it is slightly changed and tweaked in terms of the drain level, because of the fact that you don't have the fuel now to play around with. The thing you're playing around with the most is ERS, and then DRS is only, you know, there twice in a lap, as we now try and go for a cheeky move on Ocon there. Goes defensive. The Alpine car, obviously a lot slower, actually, but obviously this is a preview build, so the speeds of the cars, you know, in comparison to each other, the pecking order, it's not final, so definitely can't judge anything on that. And the same thing even with the AI, in terms of we've been asked not to really comment too much in the AI scrutiny, because there is going to be some tweaks. There always is, in terms of right up until launch, that they're tweaking how the AI behave and the pecking order and such. But just general impressions coming, just nice to see some aggression. You can see Alonso very much goes defensive, and look, that up ahead, Stroll versus Gasly. Stroll gets past Pierre in the AlphaTauri, so the AI are constantly making moves on each other, and they're willing to go for the moves, I think, on each other, whereas on last year's game, I think they sometimes went for it, but a lot of the times, and you'll see that even in my team career mode now, you know, even with maxed out cars and so much chaos, that sometimes they do get stuck in some DRS trains. Not to say that there won't be any DRS trains in this game as well, because obviously we see that in real life. It's part and parcel of Formula 1 as a sport anyway, but on the game, obviously you like to hopefully see a little bit less to get some more action, because it is a video game at the end of the day. And from what I've played, all the different like little 3-lap races I've done, they just seem very punchy, so I'm looking forward to testing out more, obviously digging my teeth into it, into career mode when it launches, and really hopefully seeing if it's going to be the case. But here, Stroll's being a massive mobile chicane and really holding me up. The tyre wear is definitely kicking in. Lap number 8 this is, and the rear tyres are definitely a little bit yellow on the heads-up display, and Stroll, I feel like, is definitely feeling it as we get completely blocked off into that corner. Lucky not to actually get a little bit of damage on my front wing there, but the tyres, you can see they are very worn, the rear, as I lose the back end. And I think, from just memory of doing other 25% races and last question mark challenges, I think the tyre wear, with the tyre model changing for the handling, I think the tyre wear has also been slightly tweaked in the scaling of it, and shorter race distances to 25% race, hopefully a 50, is a little bit better, and there's some actual tyre wear we're seeing in a 25% race, whereas on last year's game, in all the last question mark challenges, there were so many times where I was doing more laps on soft compounder tyres and being generally quick, whereas I am losing some time. Not to say I'm going to gain some, and you're about to see here on lap number 6. Unfortunately, I wanted to come in on this lap because we already went longer than I wanted to, but Bottas came in and blocked me coming in, so we have to go out for another lap. But now the difference is we're in clean air, so we've just set 2 red sectors, but now I got my head down, used a little bit more ERS than I probably should have on this in lap, because you're going to see as we come into the pit lane on the next clip that we are very much low on ERS now, you know, down to the 20%, but it's been a good lap, 2 green sectors, so, you know, that kind of shows that the concentration level's kind of ramped up a little bit for this one in lap, had a little bit of tyre life left in it, and we could push in like they do in real life. You know, if you save some tyres for for the end of the stint. How many times have we seen Hamilton, you know, talk about saving tyres for the end of the stint, and then he bangs in a quicker lap right at the end as he comes in, or, you know, right at the end of a race, basically, because he saved those tyre compounds. And very much what you can do here, especially once you get into clean air in a Mercedes car, you're going to gain some time. But I still maintain that I think the tyre wear scaling is a bit better, and I was feeling some more tyre wear than I would have maybe done in F1 2020 possibly. Obviously, going to need to test it out in a 50% race. That will be the big litmus test. So hopefully there will be a bit more tyre wear seen in a 50% race, because there were quite a few tracks on last year's game where, unfortunately, if you're playing it earlier on in career mode where the tyre wear was a bit basic, you know, sometimes it was just a little bit meh with the one stop. But here we go then, closing up on Ricciardo, deploying a little bit of ERS, then opening up just DRS here and gaining on the Mercedes-powered McLaren. We go to the inside, Rick Bobby going defensive, but we want the inside line, but we go a little bit too deep into turn one, and Ricciardo actually sent the fast lap of the Grand Prix there as we caught him up, so even more impressive we actually caught him, but Ricciardo switchbacks me, so, you know, doesn't, you know, back away and shy away from making the re-overtaking pass. We go again, misjudged the brake point, but here we go now for this second time, squeeze him a little bit now, trying to find my brake point, a little bit iffy here. He's actually still there side by side, but then on the corner exit, the downforce and the grip of the Mercedes car overpowers, and we're up into P9. But, you know, or P5, I should say, as actually they've changed the heads-up display, because I know why they've done it, but they've moved the lap counter to the left and the position to the right. They've done that because in real life, obviously, when we watch F1, the time ladder has the lap on the left, but of course, you know, it's real life. In the video game, you need to know, or you want to know, what your position is on the, you know, on a heads-up display, like on the top right corner. So for me personally, I don't think it's actually the best thing to do. I know they're trying to mimic real life, but personally for me, actually, in hindsight, like I did with the heads-up display on the bottom, where I moved it from the middle to the right, I think personally for me in my videos, I'll actually swap these and put the position back on the left and the lap counter on the right, just because I'm so used to it, and it makes more sense visually to see the position counter above all the position ladders on the left. But anyway, that's some just random commentary about the heads-up display and personal preference with content creation. But we're now on the last lap of the Grand Prix. We push hard, caught up to Perez, who's been having a battle with Norris this entire time. But Verstappen leads the way, Bottas in second. Obviously, with the last question mark challenge, those of you who are not new to the channel and you've seen some of these challenges before, we like to see if we can do any sort of wizardry, you know. Can I predict the podium? Can I predict the fast lap of the Grand Prix, where people come? Let's see. This is being uploaded after qualifying on the Saturday, but I'm doing the commentary before qualifying, so I don't know what's happening in quali. The latest thing I know is that Verstappen crashed in FP3, so I don't know how that's going to go for him. Hopefully he's able to pull through, but Perez looks strong here, so let me know what you guys made of qualifying and what your predictions are for tomorrow's race. And then obviously come back to the video and tell me how we did. But here we are then, some great action right at the end. Last lap overtake, you love to see it. Up into P4 there, I think, for a first outing, for a first proper full 25% race on this game, because so far all I've done is 3-lap races that I haven't even been finishing. So this is the first full race I've finished on this game in this preview build. I don't think that's too shabby. P20 to P4. We're a little bit slow and tentative in the first lap, so we maybe could have got up to the podium eventually, but I think that's a pretty first decent outing.
Here we are then, it's victory in Azerbaijan. Great work from the whole team here at the track and back at the factory as well. And some pretty handy driving for good measure. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
So there we have it then. Hope you guys enjoyed the kind of first full race gameplay from F1 2021 from me. Obviously, the first video was more about the first initial impressions and laps and, you know, showing you as many cars as I could. The second video was kind of more about the details and information, all about the different career modes and the 2-player career and breaking point. If you haven't seen that, by the way, definitely go check that second video out. all about career mode. But yeah, for this third video, I thought it'd be nice just to show you a kind of full race highlight package, and at the same time, seeing as Baku this weekend, do a lot, a question mark challenge fits in quite nicely. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. And like I said at the start, I'm not too sure if this is going to be the final time we get any early access to F1 2021. If it is, then I guess the next time you'll be seeing this game is when we kick off our My Team career mode, and obviously also delve into the story mode of Breaking Point. And if it isn't, then maybe, hopefully, there'll be another gameplay in like 2 or 3 weeks time. I'm not too sure. We're quite close to the launch anyway. So till then, guys, whenever it is, till the next video, hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.